So this is my first slide, and everybody, I used it once, and I really realized that people look at this as, what the hell are you talking about? We're talking about smart cities. Okay, so why am I using this? I'm using this as an example of simple innovation that came in the 30s. I'm Italian originally, and for me, it's the best coffee that I can get. Better than an espresso machine. This is the best, the right one. So what I'm talking about here is that of all these discussions that we may have here, this technology, fantastic things, futuristic, I think at the end of the day, you want something that gives you satisfaction, pleasure, you feel happy. So this makes me feel happy in the morning. And it's kind of neutral, because then I want to go to another subject, which is technology we say is neutral. It's neutral, it depends how we use it. It can create good positive outcomes, so we can create negative outcomes. There's a digital divide. The use of a lot of technology is also using a ton of resources from the earth. So we replace fossil fuels, but we're destroying other types of habitats in the earth. So all I'm trying to say is that, like a gun, and I live in the United States, and a lot of people there say that a gun is neutral, it's just the people, like the way they use it. Oh no, I don't agree. The gun is, okay, it's just a piece of iron, and if you don't use it, it's neutral. But there's a big difference. The gun was designed and built with the purpose to kill, okay? So there's intrinsic differences in things, and including we have to think about technology. Now, what is this to? This is Positano. You know, it's one of my favorite places. I'm using this because I think a good, inclusive city, is a place where the technology that you have around, you don't really see it. So this works pretty well as a small town, very well run, because it's basically invaded by tourists every year. And the way they've been organizing that, it's pretty decent the way they have to do all the waste collections, because it's really massive. And that's another thing that we have created. So I'm a little bit of a contrarian, because I strongly believe in our movement, the urban movement, but at the same time, we're also creating other problems. Like the fact that a lot of places have so much tourism, it's because, okay, they bring economic development, they bring a ton of waste. And so we gotta be always considering these other factors. And digital in the end, yes, it's a very important part to make everything efficient, but I don't really believe that everything should be digitalized. I think what you want to digitalize is everything that makes the mundane and the whatever makes it boring, like repetitive stuff, like you want to deal with the government, other things, and also some automatic ways to maybe make the city work better. But the rest, I think, we still need the human interaction. We need emotions. We are emotional people, and with digital, the emotions are not there. So, and because during the pandemic, yes, we all use so much the Zoom and whatever, you name it. But I want to ask you, is there anyone in here that thinks that is it better to be on Zoom or like meet in person like we did today here? Because I met them all on Zoom. Anyone thinks that it's better on Zoom? As I predicted, not it was difficult to predict. Now, this is an example of inclusion and exclusion that is lined with physical stuff and digital. This is a New York City housing authority. It's one of the 326 sites that are public housing in New York. New York City has 500,000 people living in public housing. So in Europe, they think that New York and the States, there's no public sector. It's just very, very different. New York has 336,000 public employees. The city of New York, it's huge. So a lot of social services. But NYCHA, which is called NYCHA, has 180,000 apartments. Now, a lot of them were suffering from disinvestment coming from the federal government. So we're doing transformation there to make them more, first of all, yes, you want the digitalization, but again, if you have a bathroom that is falling apart and your roof is not working, isn't digitalization going to help you? If you don't have a roof on your head and you are homeless, digitalization is going to do nothing for you. Although what we're doing there is also that half of the people there don't have access to broadband. We try to work with the large corporations like Verizon, the big provider, the ISP provider, Verizon, Spectrum, like the telecoms, to try to lower the price, but it didn't happen. So the government of the city of New York, the chief technology officer, we issued together with NYCHA an RFP to source 6 small internet service providers that will provide broadband at $20 a day, and with technologies that are, some of them are really simple, like mesh, you point to point, and people themselves are repetitor of the signal. And the other purpose is to create some competition within that market. But this has also been exclusive because the way we're built, it started in the 30s, but during the 50s, a lot of the new sites were built very far from the subway with the purpose of isolating them. Okay, so there are parts of the structure that are really far. It's to create some sort of a ghetto. And so, again, it's really about the physical space, and this isn't my last thing. It's just an example of inclusion. We talk about inclusion, and I really was struck by this. I was talking with Mayor of Milan a few years ago. This is Milan, the Duomo. It's a central square, and before, there are tensions. There's a big Muslim population living in Milan. But they allowed the use of the most important central square, so it's access for them to pray on a special day of Ramadan. So I think that's a way to open up your city and make other people feel included. Am I done with the time, or can I just add one more thing? Simplicity. I'll do it later. So, that's simplicity. One thing I'm working on is one of my advisory firm. It's called. It's an app that's called onesimplicity.com. So I'll go with this, of course it's digital, it's an app, but it's sort of it's a social media purely for municipalities. And what does it mean? Well, what's the purpose? The purpose is to create better trust, which is the most important, I think, element in any city. People have to trust the government and each other. And how? It's basically aggregates everything that comes from the municipality, puts it in a feed, which is like Twitter, let's say, and the user can download it for free, and he can see whatever, if you click on something or whatever you want to click on, or scroll down just to show some, it shows the feed. It doesn't matter.